The bosses of China's biggest companies, including EV powerhouse BYD and AI startup DeepSeek, have met with China's President Xi Jinping. To the surprise of many, Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba, was invited in a rare public appearance after he fell out with the Chinese government in 2020 over a controversial speech. It's got many analysts wondering whether Beijing is easing pressure on the private sector as it tries to boost its flailing economy amid threats of a US trade war. Well, for more, Bang Xiao, reporter for ABC Chinese, is here in the studio. Bang, tell us a bit more about what this symposium was about and also China's approach to private tech companies.
Thanks, Yvonne. I think it was very symbolic, particularly considering the context about we had the China-US trade war going on, and in next month we'll be expecting the National People's Congress in China, which is China's rubber stamp parliament discussing about the economy of the country. So the Chinese government is definitely trying to give this strong signal to the public that they are dealing with the bad economy and they are trying to save the economy by starting from working with the private sector. And also when you think about how popular DeepSeek has become overnight earlier this year, Beijing knows that they have to work with the private, particularly the technology sectors.
Well, how significant was it that Jack Ma was present?
It is very significant because he disappeared from public view for almost 5 years. I think it shows validation and approval. But given that the punishments and the whole consequence of his speech back in 5 years ago has created so much issue for the whole sector, I think China was using this as a really great example of giving carrot and stick to tell people that, the government and the Chinese Communist Party is the only dominant force that can rule the country. And regardless of how rich you are and how powerful you are, your influence could never be on top of the government.
And tell us, in your view, how genuine is the government in wanting to work with the private sector?
The approach is kind of mysterious. You see, on one hand, the top leader of the country is meeting all of those really famous tech tycoons in the country. It's very unusual. But what's been discussed during the meeting and who else attended the meeting were kind of like being kept as a secret. You can only see the most high-profile founders of those big tech giants were there on the front row, and people were also speculating like whoever sits on which spots means that's how much the Chinese government really cared about their business. But to your question, particularly about how serious the Chinese government is about dealing with the economy, if you look at the attendee of this meeting, there's one person standing next to Xi who is actually the grand ideology designer of the whole Xi Jinping thoughts and Chinese Communist Party's ideology propaganda. His name is Wang. So that's a really strong signal to tell the public that regardless who you are and how influential your business is, the party's ideology will be always on top of everything.
Really interesting to talk. Thank you, Bang.
Thanks for having me, Yvonne.